Hi friends, my name is Kelly. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my October reads, and it's going to be a lot of creepy stuff and a lot of books about people who love Jesus, which may sound like it's in contradiction to each other, but that's just how I roll here. So the first book that I'm definitely going to be getting to is called Eleanor, Oliphant is Completely Fine. It is by Gail Honeyman, and it is a story about a sort of socially awkward lady, and she is dealing with the fact that she's not always the easiest social person, and she spends a lot of time alone at home when she's not at work. But she definitely deals with some depression. That's part of the conversation. And I can't wait to find out how things sort of changed and were propelled forward in her storyline. And I'm going to be doing this as a buddy read with Talia at Bandana Book Mom. I'm really excited to be doing this with her. She is one of my favorite people on here on BookTube. So please go check out her channel. The next thing I have definitely on the agenda is listening to The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which is by Washington Irving. And sometimes I actually say by Irving Berlin. I get my spooky fall stuff and my Christmas confused sometimes for some reason, but it is Washington Irving, not Irving Berlin. So I think we all know the storyline. We've got school teacher who thinks he's seeing like a headless horseman, and is he going crazy? Maybe. Is it real? Are people playing tricks on him? So I always enjoy this. This is just about an hour and a half read when you're listening to it as an audio. So I am looking forward to being able to fit that one in because it won't take me too long. Something I do most falls. The next thing I will definitely be doing is I will be reading the Scorpio Races, and this is going to be a group read with Courtney Reads. And I have never read this before. This is her favorite novel. And so I am looking forward to it. I try to stay a little bit in the dark so I can be surprised, but I do know that it involves obviously races, but it's underwater horses. So I don't know any of the ins and outs of this. I'm really excited because Courtney and I a lot of times like a lot of the same stuff. So I have a feeling I'm going to really enjoy this. So I have decided to take part in the Christian Fiction Readathon. This is hosted by Katie at Paperback and Ponytail. She's always been a very great supporter of my channel. She always leaves such kind comments and watches my videos, and I really appreciate her. So Christian fiction, a lot of times it's a little bit controversial because some people think, oh, well, it's cheesy and it's just a little bit too moralistic. I think Christian fiction is just like secular fiction. There's a lot of it that's really terrible and there's a lot of it that's good. Okay, and so for me, when I'm reading Christian fiction, a bigger concern is like, since it is faith-based, is the theology something that I agree with? So sometimes I will be way faster to DNF a Christian fiction than I will be to DNF a secular book, which might sound different than what you might think about someone who is a Christian. It may not have language in it. It may not have, sexual content, but if I feel like the theology is different than what I personally believe, which may be something that you're totally comfortable with, I personally would feel a lot less comfortable reading that than maybe something that is a secular book that has some content that some people don't think is appropriate. So that's just where I come from with reading Christian fiction, and everyone is probably different on that. So she has some wonderful prompts. She's saying everyone use the hashtag Journey Through the Bible. So the group read for the Christian Fiction Readathon is A Voice in the Wind by Francine Rivers. And I have actually already started listening to this as an audiobook because it's a very long book. And I'm also cheating and using this for another prompt, and that is Witness an Event prompt, which I chose David and Goliath, which is a monster of a book, over 400 pages, because this is a very big book. It is dealing with a Jewish ancestry-wise slave named Hadassah, who has been sold into slavery into Rome, and she is actually a Christian, and she fears for revealing that for her life. We also are following some of the family that she has been taken under their wing as that has bought her as their slave, and we're listening in on how a young man who has been sold as a slave to the gladiators is getting on, and how he's dealing with having to basically murder people for his survival. So far it's a pretty interesting listen, and I will update more as I have finished it. So other prompts, where are you going? And I chose to do The Promised Land, and for this one I am reading The Dream Treaders, which is a book that I promised in the past to read. It's by Wayne Thomas Batson, and I bought this for like $1 from Mardell, and I mentioned it in another video because it was definitely a cover by, other than it being so inexpensive, a cover by purchase. Look at that stunning cover. So I know very little about this, and I'm wanting to be very surprised. Really, I know the cover, and that is about it. So another prompt is, who are you going to meet? And that would be Daniel that I chose for that because it says one that has an animal on the cover. This is a Colleen Coble book. I also got this used. You can tell by the little corner. I haven't read it yet. It's Without a Trace, and it is about a lady whose husband and son went missing after a plane crash, and then there seems to be a tie between a horrific murderous event. And I have also chosen, because I have such a busy October, double up on this prompt and use this as witness an event. No, that was David and Goliath. Something has happened, and in the lion's den, which is appropriate because Daniel was the animal on the cover, and book with danger. So I'm going to double up on that prompt with that. And so the last one that I have left to do is, how do you escape? And it says this is reader's choice. And so I'm going to do The Souls of Lost Lake, and this is Jaime Jo Wright. She does suspense, dual timeline mysteries with a romance element. I've read one of her books and I enjoyed it, so I will be looking forward to seeing what this one is all about. Now, there is another book that I will definitely be trying to get to this month, and that is Frankenstein, and I'm going to be doing this as a group read, part of the you're going to love this name, I Read Dead People book club. And this club was started by Heather's Heroes and Heroines as a wonderful attempt to read some classics, and she's kind of put a caveat out there that they're going to be written by people who are no longer with us anymore. So she is doing that one for October. I know she's doing Dracula in November. I believe I might be helping her host sometime in the future, perhaps December, when she does Wuthering Heights. So go check out Heather's channel. Other books that I don't know if I'll get to, but would be really fun if I could, are as follows. Cog Heart, which is a middle grade fantasy, and that's by Peter Bunzl, I think is how you say his name, and Chatty from the channel Chatty the Mad Chatter and Vanya from Vidania Silver Scribe are doing a little group read along. I'm already behind because they did the first book in September, so I'm hoping they'll just let me kind of limp along as I can and join in. They know how much I share their affinity for middle grade fantasy. Two other books that I would really love to get to if I happen to have the time, and I might read them in November if I don't. And I have Miriam Elizabeth's channel to thank for this. She did a fall possibilities type video, and I was like, oh my gosh, I would really love to read a couple of the ones that I had thought about in the past and forgotten about. So one of them is Jamaican Inn, and that's by Daphne du Maurier. A lot of you know that I really love Rebecca, so I'm hoping this would be the same creepy but not evil vibes that Rebecca has. And then The other one is Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. This is an Agatha Christie I've never read before, and I love Agatha. So I hope you guys are going to have a wonderful October too. I'm getting lipstick on my teeth. You just have to take me and my flawed videos sometimes. I just don't have time to make these perfectly polished, edited ones with my schedule, but let me know what you think of my reads, and if you've read any of them before. Let me know if you have a busy life and have perfectly polished videos, how you do it. And I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching today, and have a wonderful October. Bye-bye.